is an easy game to set up, Tom. Malone and Parrish jump it. Irving comes down with it for the red-shirted Sixers. Maxwell is on Julius Irving. Ames will be guarding Maurice Cheeks, but you can see him already doubling off. Julius Irving having as good a year from outside, misses, but there's Charles Barkley. There's a big part of what Philadelphia has done this year.
Well, with his addition on the offensive board, just like we've seen, he's given a new dimension. Ivoroni didn't give that to the 76ers the early part of the year, so they went with Mr. Barkley.
Parrish is up on high, and Moses Malone is right there with him. Dennis Johnson, Larry Bird looking inside. They're posting up Maxwell, and Barkley has both his hands up. Maxwell gets free inside and a foul. What about that matchup? Maxwell and Barkley, that could be a big one.
Well, they'll try to take advantage of the fact that Barkley's a rookie. Give it to Maxwell. The Celtics have multiple low-post players. McHale comes in off the bench. Maxwell, Parrish, and Bird goes down there. And what they like to do is pick on a guy they feel that they can abuse a little bit. And it appears that Barkley's going to be the guy for a while.
Andrew Toney, helping out, committed the foul. So here is Cedric Maxwell, who goes to the line more than any other Celtic other than Kevin McHale, and he is shooting 86% from the line, so he's making it count.
That's one of the reasons why they put him down there in the low post. He is really adroit at drawing fouls.
1-2, Barkley the rebound. Both teams obviously like to run.
Both teams mirror themselves. They'll take the fast break off long rebounds and steals. Boston perhaps looks for long outlet passes a little bit more than the Sixers do.
Maurice Cheeks. I tell you, Maurice Cheeks is on an incredible tear. He has missed only 7 shots in his last 44. That is over 80%, believe it or not. Here's Parrish. Julius Irving controls it, so Maurice Cheeks stays hot.
And here comes the Sixers. They try to push it up a little bit, create something inside as quickly as they can.
Parrish intercepted that pass from Toney to Malone, and here is Dennis Johnson. Dennis Johnson having perhaps his finest year and has really been shooting well from outside. Parrish, baseline.
Both clubs push it up. If they don't have a layup, they try to get it to the low post.
Julius Irving over Maxwell. And both teams shooting well. It's 6-3 in favor of Philadelphia. Less than 2 minutes gone by. Maxwell. No longer can you double everyone and leave Maurice Cheeks open as Irving goes to the hoop. Intercepted by Ainge. Pass back into the hands of Danny Ainge. Definitely going to Maxwell early. He's delivering.
Billy Cunningham knows that Barkley has got to get out there and do a job on Maxwell as he's the first hole in the dike for the Sixers.
Celtics lead by 1. Ainge on Cheeks. Toney with Maxwell on him. A mismatch. As Malone misses. Barkley on the offensive board. Second effort. And Charles Barkley with a second effort play inside gives Philadelphia the lead. And already Barkley has 4 rebounds in the game.
I tell you, he gets on that offensive board so quickly that Larry Bird, with not the quick feet, will have a tough time blocking him out.
Bird's first shot of the game is fouled inside. Larry Bird was first, but let's watch Barkley on the board.
Here's Larry Bird not straying away too far from Barkley because he knows he's got to get a body on him, but Barkley also has this great leaping ability. Look at him go over the top of Bird. You've got to block him out and try and take the rebound off in front of your face. Larry Bird is pretty adept at that, but it's going to hurt his team defense if he has to go and make sure he keeps Barkley off the boards.
Irving committed the foul, and here's Larry Bird, who's the 5th leading free throw shooter in the NBA at over 90%. That's how hot he's been lately coming into the ball game. Nearly 3 minutes gone by, and both teams look sharp.
I'll tell you, they've got the fast break game going, the push-up fast, the inside game going. They really are very, very sharp.
Julius, and we'll have a foul away from the hoop as Robert Parrish hits the deck and will be called for the personal foul, his first foul of the game. And, of course, the Sixers will take it out of bounds.
One of the tough jobs for Parrish is to try and deny Moses that real super low post position close to the basket. And he doesn't want to pick up too many fouls, so it's going to be a real test for Parrish.
Irving didn't have control. You saw he lost it off of his arm, and he's called for traveling.
Teams force him to his left, and every once in a while he brings it in front of his face.
Bird shows his second effort inside, and he is fouled inside, and Larry Bird will go to the line. Nope, Dennis Johnson. Harris is called for the foul.
We're going to see Maxwell forcing Dr. J to his left. He kind of lost it on his hip, then goes back as he gets doubled by Dennis Johnson and is forced to make a pass, called for travel.
Celtics 9-8. Malone is doubled by Parrish and Maxwell. Bird got a piece of it. Tony has not gotten off a shot yet. Larry Bird is guarding him. And here is Malone.
Andrew Toney does that so well now. He's the creator of offense for these Sixers. With penetration, finds the open man.
Malone is averaging over 26. He's 8th in the league in scoring. Back to his form of 2 years ago when the Sixers won the title. And here's Dennis Johnson from the corner, and we'll talk more about Dennis Johnson's superb outside shooting to go with his outstanding defensive play as we go along. Under 8 minutes to go in the first period. Back and forth we go. The Celtics by 1, and Julius puts Philadelphia back on top.
Well, they isolated him down low as they're looking at Bobby Jones, who has always played a big part on this Sixer team.
Danny Ainge. Bird. Casey Jones says Larry Bird may be one of the best shooters of all time.
Larry Bird from the outside is really terrific. When he's firing from downtown like that, it opens up that inside game of the Celts.
7 lead changes in the ball game as Malone misses. Julius fighting for the pass, and the rebound coming down to Maxwell. Here's Dennis Johnson. Bird pulling up over Cheeks. Moses Malone with a rebound. He leads the league at over 12. 7 minutes remaining in the first period. Tony loses it going in. It's
because of Barkley being in the lineup, you see less and less of Dr. J with his bill of fare inside game, the low post. They go to Barkley more and more down there.
It'll be Boston ball when we come back to the Garden.
7-time champion Richard Petty is the king.
While we have a break, let's bring up to date on some of the scores of import last night in the NBA. The Lakers won. We'll have highlights of their big victory over Golden State. Dallas edged the LA Clippers. Also, you'll see highlights with Pat O'Brien at halftime. Indiana wins 2 in a row this weekend, including a victory over Boston. Michael Jordan at 39 in that game. Houston's a game and a half behind Denver. Denver was victorious last night, as you will see, over Portland, and New Jersey loses to the red-hot Detroit Pistons. Kevin McHale is into the ball game. Best in the NBA, their instant point man. So Kevin McHale comes in, replacing Robert Parrish, so he becomes the center.
And that's really a tough matchup for McHale to guard Moses Malone.
Maxwell, and the rebound coming down to Andrew Toney, who has been more of a passer, which he has done a pretty good job of, but Billy Cunningham would like him to shoot more. The problem with him, he may be a little unselfish, as Moses Malone gets his second basket.
And McHale gave him the super position down low. He's going to make almost every shot if he gets that close to the basket, Malone.
We've had 8 lead changes in this first period. Andrew Toney again with the rebound as Ainge tried a long-range one. Irving, Toney's open.
Both ball clubs right now have to shoot a little bit from the outside because everybody's trying to take the inside game of each other away by doubling or backing down. So the guards of both clubs will have to hit outside a little bit to loosen up the D.
Bird was posting up, now goes to the corner. Moses Malone over Maxwell for the rebound with 5:45 remaining in the first period. Philadelphia by 3. No longer can you leave Marie's cheeks open. That's apparent.
He is shooting with great confidence from the outside cheeks. And the Celtics have historically left him alone and dared him to shoot. And they may be making a big mistake today, leaving Cheeks out there all by himself.
Casey Jones, who said, what about the lack of depth? He says, I'm playing the players who are producing. If more produce, I'll play more. So that's the old chicken and the egg question about playing time. Andrew Toney misses. Bird the rebound. Dennis Johnson had committed that last foul. Cedric Maxwell on an end-to-end foray lands into the photographer's nest, and Boston comes within one.
Pretty tough for Maxwell, who's not a super swift forward, to get up and fill that wing, but he sure did it that time for a hoop, an easy layup.
Parrish on the bench with 2 fouls. He scored 2 points. Tony directing traffic, and the Sixers have 3 men up on top, isolating on Moses Malone, double team. The defensive strategy works. Bird's pass, bullet to Dennis Johnson, goes around Irving. Here's Bird. Cheeks, disadvantage against Dennis Johnson, but he's doubled with Julius. Ames travels.
As that effective Sixer defense, they make you cough the ball up when you get into your scoring territory. They make you pass it to the weak side, away from them, rotate the ball, an extra pass. So they're really working their diva, these Sixers.
Philadelphia has out-rebounded Boston by more than 2-1. That's what Barkley's presence has done, as Julius Irving will go to the line. Irving comes into the game needing 34 points to pass Dan Issel as the number 4 scorer in history of NBA and ABA players, and he's got a shot at Elvin Hayes, number 3, before the end of the year. Kevin McHale commits the first foul and the 4th team foul against the Celtics. And here's Julius Irving, who made it official this week that he'll be back next year, and I have a hunch maybe more than next year.
I think so too. Billy Cunningham has said he's resting Dr. J more and more, so that by the end of the season he'll be a healthy player and be able to contribute with strength during the playoffs.
He's averaging over 20 points a game, so he hasn't lost offensively. This both. So the Celtics can regain the lead with a basket here with 4:25 remaining in the first period. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn, the big rivals of the game. McHale turnaround.
Moses doesn't like the challenge early in the ball game, fear of picking up fouls. Well, McHale will be able to get some shots off.
Barkley over Bird. Malone on the offensive rebound. And it's still Philadelphia ball.
There's McHale beating the double team. He kind of looks at double teams with disdain. Cheeks came along the baseline, almost caught him by surprise, but up over the top of Malone it went.
One thing about Charles Barkley, who's inbounding, is that he really has cut down his fouling. Malone inside, Barkley. Here's Barkley's power, but Charles really had a problem in camp and early in the year fouling out, and so he has shown the poise. He's a smart guy and learned that.
Well, I think, you know, from the experience playing college basketball, a lot of zones, he didn't have the man-to-man experience, and he certainly, played a whole college season here in the NBA already.
Dennis Johnson misses. Barkley with another rebound. That's 6 for Charles, the rookie, the 8th-man pick in the draft last year, the rookie from Auburn. Bobby Jones into the game. Was the right man in the right place to get the basket. So with Julius Irving now on the bench and Bobby Jones in, you're seeing more of the bench by Billy Cunningham. He'll bring a guard in off the bench, and Casey Jones will also bring in Scott Wedman. Bird, what a great way Bird takes his shot. You know it can't be blocked that way.
Well, he's got a good up fake. Bobby Jones doesn't usually go for those, but the fall away worked that time for Bird.
Quickness. Not that time, and Bird to Johnson. 3-on-2, 4-on-2 for Boston. Kevin McHale will get the basket and the foul.
Celtics don't have much speed at that forward position, but both Maxwell and McHale busting their butts to get out there and fill the wing, and they're making that fast break happen.
Bobby Jones commits the foul, and the Celtics lead.
If you're interested in earning more than a penny...
It's a Big East meeting of national powers. The 4th-ranked St. John's Redmen take on the top-ranked Georgetown Hoyas in college basketball next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Boston 21, Philadelphia 20, 2:51 remaining in the first period. This is how close these rivals have been this decade. 16-16 regular season wins. They're all even in playoff. NBA champions, the Celtics have won 2 to Philadelphia's 1.
Now we're going to watch Larry Bird come up with the rebound after Barkley drives to the basketball. Watch Kevin McHale take off up the court. A tough run for a big guy, but the Celtics are trying to put the pressure with the fast break on the defense of the Sixers. Watch it go. A tough shot by Barkley. Bird comes up with the rebound, and the long dig-out run by Kevin McHale produces a tough layup, but two nonetheless.
Clint Richardson has come into the ball game for the Philadelphia 76ers, and their newest player, George Johnson, who has really become an asset. He was acquired from the Pacers for 2 draft picks after Mark Ivaroni, who had started when they won the title, traded to San Antonio. So George Johnson, number 12, is into the ball game along. There he is. He wears number 12, who's been a surprising defensive rebounder, according to Cunningham. The Boston Celtics bring in Scott Wedman into the ball game. So far we're seeing a deeper bench from Philly than Boston at this stage.
Well, Philly's bench, as we mentioned earlier, is playing much better coordinated. And what they're doing offensively, Philly will put everybody in there from the bench, but keep one scorer in there, either Tony or Dr. J, and use that person. But they are really more moving the ball around, more passing type of offense, and anybody can take a shot, and it's starting to produce results.
Foul was on Maxwell, put the Celtics over the limit, and Bobby Jones. Good free throw shooter. And we are tied now at 22. It's our first tie. We've had 11 lead changes in the ball game, and it is still Boston ball.
And you can see with all these guys in there right away, Billy C says, let's press them a little bit. Celtics caught off guard.
Scott Wedman playing the forward position, giving Larry Bird a breather. Bird scored 6 points. Maxwell has George Johnson defending him, and Johnson does a good job. Loose ball, there's Max, and he's fouled. Good hustle by Cedric Maxwell, who's really been inconsistent as of late, and Casey Jones says he's not always ready to go, and that's been a bit of a problem.
I think Max doesn't like to run up the court that much anymore. If he really got it out on a fast break, he'd do some damage for this ball club, but he is an excellent low post player and can produce these type of situations, get to the free throw line, and a lot of times make a basket to boot.
There were trade rumors in the press that Maxwell might be dealt, and that bothered Maxwell, and he had a long talk with Casey Jones the other day, and he assured Maxwell that there were no trade rumors in the wind, but you know, Maxwell was the hero of Game 7, as we remember right here, and he'll be there when the big ones come.
That was just a little bit to shake Max up, I think. Somebody dropped a little nip in the newspaper, and Max perked up.
2:15 to go, first period. Celtics lead 24-22. George Johnson guarded by Wedman. Wedman forces Johnson into a travel. Now the Celtics looking to run. Ainge will bring it up now. Danny Ainge has really erased all doubts his ability as a starter.
Hit outside so well as to help their offense inside.
Turnover. Tony, watch Malone running the court for a big man, and Andrew Tony palms the ball. So 2 consecutive turnovers by the Philadelphia 76ers. We have under 2 minutes to go, and that's the turnover story thus far.
And you were so right. That Moses Malone just dug it out and got up there as second man on the break. That's running.
He's mean and lean this year again. 7 on the shot clock against Clint Richardson, a good defender. Johnson hits outside. He's averaging over 17 and is shooting at 50%, so he is having a grand year.
Last year, Dick, he used to hesitate taking that outside shot. Now he's looking for it, and he's shooting it with such great confidence. What a difference. Minute
and 20 remaining in the first period, 10 on the shot clock. Celtics have opened up a 4-point lead. Malone. McHale clears. Malone is 2 for 9 from the field. Scott Wedman against Bobby Jones. George Johnson gets the rebound for the Philadelphia 76ers with less than a minute to play. First period, Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn before the 190th straight sellout at Boston Garden. George Johnson. And it's a 2-point game, Boston.
Now that time, Malone picked up the double team. George Johnson open at the foul line, and nobody rotated to him by the Celtics.
3-point attempt missing by Danny Ainge, and Bobby Jones had it, lost it out of bounds, and the Celtics will inbound. There's Bobby Jones, who plays the compelling situations. That's what Billy Cunningham says.
And he's also resting him a lot more this year for the same reason he's resting Dr. J.
Well, when the two of them are in, they really have.
That's a great experience and great speed on that forward position.
12 on the shot clock. McHale going to the hoop against Malone. The rebound by George Johnson. You already can see what kind of an asset he has been off the bench for Philadelphia. Playing for the final shot now, the 76ers, who will try to tie the ball game.
Here's where they let Andrew Toney create. Goes one-on-one, and they hope that he gets the shot or will find an open man.
Toney over McHale, short, and the end of the first period shows the men in white and green with the lead. No surprise, the two best teams in the NBA record-wise. It's 26-24 in favor of the Celtics. Teams that met for the NBA championship in 3 of the last 5 years will square off Friday night, 11:30 Eastern time. We hope you join us to see what should be another equally fine matchup. These Philadelphia 76ers against the Los Angeles Lakers. And it was the Sixers who swept the Lakers. Remember, fo. Moses Malone mentioned a couple of years ago. And, of course, the Lakers had beaten the Sixers the year before. Next Friday, 11:30 Eastern time. Dennis Johnson, perhaps his finest year, has always been a key man defensively. And he is shooting well and has upgraded his play considerably this year.
Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge, who's now residing on the bench, their outside shooting has improved so dramatically that it's made some teams change the way they consider playing defense against the Celtics.
Start of the second period, Carlos Clark, who has emerged as the third guard, second year out of Ole Miss, is in the ball game now, being guarded by Andrew Toney. Larry Bird shooting over Bobby Jones' hit. Bird has 8 points in the ball game. Maxwell leads Boston with 9, and the leading scorer for the Sixers coming into the second period is Charles Barkley with 6, and Barkley starts the period on the bench. Malone, 2 for 9. Looks like he's going strong to the hoop.
Malone wanted a foul on Parrish, but Parrish kind of let him slide right down that lane for the easy one.
Parrish had 2 fouls, spent a lot of the first period on the bench, and Kevin McHale is fouled by George Johnson, his second personal foul.
Here's Moses' last basket. A push up the side fast. He slides into the low post before Parrish can do anything about it. There's the hoop. Moses looking over at the referee saying, listen, I want to get to the free throw line. Fo.
He'd take anything. He doesn't care about the fo this time around. McHale on the free throw line.
McHale, Dick, is the type of guy that when he gets in that ball game, they run him right in the low post, the Celtics, and they try to use and abuse anybody that's guarding him.
7 points for Kevin McHale. Stronger this year, according to his coach. And the Celtics lead by 4. We're in the opening minute of the second period. Sixers are bringing all their men out to the top except for 2. Is that a 2-man game they want to work with, Malone and Toney?
Exactly, Dick.
Toney hits the shot.
But they've taken Parrish off Moses, and now McHale is back guarding him, and Parrish was guarding George Johnson.
Against Malone, who commits... No, they... Turnover. They call traveling against Robert Parrish. Billy Cunningham. We talked to him about the Boston team using only 6 or 7. He said when we won the championship in 1967, we only used 6 or 7 men, so it can't be done.
It's a tough job to do, though, when you get down to the playoffs and tail end of the season. Your team gets tired.
And the playoffs are longer now than they used to be. Toney against Dennis Johnson. Clint Richardson. Moses Malone with his first foul inside.
He just nudged McHale underneath the basket, went up strong for the rebound, but was caught for the foul.
Tough spot for him. Quinn Buckner is now relegated to the bench. We'll have a foul on Larry Bird. Carlos Clark, in his second year, is quick. He has size and speed, but what kind of a spot is that for him to assume third guard duty?
He's just finding his way in the NBA. Last year he came in and played very little, but boy, he can shoot the ball, and he's a pretty tough defender. He still has to learn some ball handling skills, however.
Ainge replaces Dennis Johnson. Illegal defense called against Philadelphia, as they had Irving, Clement Johnson, and Andrew Toney standing around. By the way, Clement Johnson, who's in for Moses Malone, is having a terrific year off the bench.
Everybody on the Celtics offense was weak side, way out past the foul line.
Danny Ainge who is shooting just under 60% in his last 7 games. And the Celtics, with 2 minutes gone by here in the second period, lead again by 4 points, 32-28. Tony is doubled for the moment. Parrish. Outlet to Bird. He's got McHale. And a timeout called by Philadelphia. Biggest lead of the game for the Boston Celtics.
There you see it. Watch them come up with the rebound. Quick outlet pass. Boston loves to get it up as close to half court as possible. And quickly up to McHale, the runner.
What's this tough guy? Aftershave skin condition.
Toole is the leader after 3 rounds, and so you'll see the finish of the Phoenix Open coming up next on CBS Sports. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn here at Boston Garden. First place at stake in the Atlantic Division. The Philadelphia 76ers have a 1/2 game lead over the Boston Celtics, and the Sixers have won 13 in a row. It's the longest winning streak in the league, and if they win today, Tom, they'll match their longest winning streak of all time, which they set 2 years ago when they were the world champs.
Philadelphia really has been coming strong, as you just mentioned, Dick, but I think they're going to get stronger.
Sedale Threatt, another one of the good men off the bench, second-year guard who's come on, is into the ball game. Sedale Threatt, number 3, is in there, and Philadelphia turns it over. Carlos Clark, 6-point lead for Boston, and Carlos Clark. Rebound, George Johnson. Clint Richardson. Johnson. Bird gets the rebound, looks for the outlet. Haynes. Filling the lane, Clark pulls up.
You can tell he's got the green light. He pulls up twice on fast break opportunities without a moment's hesitation. After the first miss, he takes the second.
Irving gets the basket. Larry Bird gambled. Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
Well, he picked one off right before. Well, once Dr. J gets the ball, you're dead, baby. So try and make the steal.
8:45 remaining in the second period. McHale doubled by Johnson and Threatt. They like Sedale Threatt very much. McHale works his way in. 11 points for Kevin McHale. He is the leading scorer in the ball game, and the Boston Celtics lead is 8 points. Clark is guarding Sedale Threatt, who came into the game last year as a rookie as a pure shooter offensively and has become an aggressive defensive player.
Well, he showed us something on that Christmas Day game against the Pistons, I'll tell you.
Clint Richardson. Philadelphia has been cold. Celtics will try to open up a 10-point lead. 6 rebounds for Larry Bird. Guarded by Julius, and there's the 10-point lead. Larry Bird has 10, and the Celtics lead by that many.
Larry Bird has taken this team on his shoulders literally this year as a challenge to win the championship twice in a row, and he never gives up.
He's played more minutes than anyone in the NBA. And, you know, a lot of people know that superstars pick their spots, offensively, defensively, but Larry Bird never picks his spots. He goes after loose balls, rebounds, and this is what he has meant to this ball club. This is where he stands in all of these categories, but looked at blocked shots, he leads the Boston Celtics.
That's surprising, but I'll bet you that one statistic we don't have here is he leads the team in how many times he goes over the scorer's table for loose balls. And he was even doing that in exhibition games, Dick, which is an indication of how much he wants to win this championship twice in a row.
There is no dead time out on the court for Larry Bird ever. 40-30 with 7:49 to go.
He really set the emotional pace for the ball club coming out of the blocks this year, Larry Bird.
Blocked by McHale. Julius gets the ball back. Goes for 3 and is short. Ainge beats him to the ball. Celtics alert. Here's Bird again. Fifth leading scorer in the league. 5th top free throw shooter. He has a better three-point percentage than most guys have a shooting percentage.
He's got almost everything better than guys in the NBA.
He's hit 4 in a row.
McHale with the long arms and terrific leaping ability, goes right up there, knocks the ball away from Dr. J. Dr. J normally gets that shot off against anybody he wants, but not against McHale.
Offensive foul called against Clement Johnson and brings in one of the great stealers of the game. Loose ball, he can generate some offense by turning of the ball over and getting a turnover. So Larry Bird has hit 5 in a row now and has 14 points for the Boston Celtics.
And Dr. J tried to make a steal on Bird that time and missed.
Cheeks, no good. The lead is 14 for the Celtics, the world champion. 6.5 remaining in the second period. Turnover. Irving goes to the hoop and gets the basket. So there you see Maurice Cheeks paying an immediate dividend.
Why, and Carlos Clark's big problem right now is ball handling, particularly feeding the low post, and Cheeks knew it.
Pressure by Philadelphia. Celtics had run off 8 in a row before that basket. Bird didn't have control and takes too many steps.
Here comes Bird coming off a pick, I think. Oh, it's inside, and Dr. J tries to make the steal, much like Bird did to him up the other end. But what happens when you miss? A stuff, and here's Cheeks playing the pass. And Dr. J, with his flying move, when he's up in the air, that leaping ability and arm span produce layups.
6:07 remain in the first half.
Bronco 2 never love big.
Baylor putting the ball into play to Walt Hazard, who brings it up on the left side. Down the left side about halfway, coming off a pick to the right. Goes to Wilkins. Knocked loose by Sam Jones, picked up by Hal Greer. He's out front. He drives and lays it in.
A bit of all-star history, and in 3 weeks from Indianapolis, Indiana, the Hoosier Dome, the 35th NBA All-Star Game, and it is something special each year. Johnny Most, by the way, narrated that clip, the longtime radio voice of the Boston Celtics. But you know, Tommy, in the latest balloting, Larry Bird is not even a starter. It's Trapuka and Irving right now at forward for the East.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? I don't know. I guess up here in Boston, they just don't like to vote. You know, politicians get all the votes up here, not ball players.
Well, of course, they still haven't counted the final tabulation. Here's Maurice Cheeks, who's going to go over the big frame of Robert Parrish. It misses. The rebound, Moses Malone, baseline, and so Moses Malone scores. He has 8 points. Irving has 8 points, and they're the high scores for Philadelphia, who trailed by 10 on a turnover. Bobby Jones has it knocked away. Bird might have had a hand in it. Celtics coming right back. Celtics are 8 out of 9 from the floor in this period. They've been hot, and they have a 10-point lead. Just misses for Larry Bird. Philadelphia coming back. Cheeks all the way.
When he pushes the ball up that quickly, you had better get your defense back because he's taking it all the way to the hoop, Mo Cheeks.
And he's pressuring Danny Ainge. Shooting story this period. Boston almost perfect. Bird with Bobby Jones defending. That's a good matchup. Quick toss. Clark was open. It's another one. Casey Jones said, look, play the way you did in college. That'll be good enough for me here in the pros.
Shoot the ball, Carlos, and forget all the rest.
Inside to Malone. He got the pass and the basket, and it was Moses Malone who had good position inside.
When you get that low and close to the basket, as we're watching Mo Cheeks pushing it up and really taking it strong to the hoop, right through the teeth of the Celtics defense, they angled him off, but not quite enough, and Cheeks having a great season the last few games.
Carlos Clark goes to the bench. He's done his job with 2 baskets and solid play. Kevin McHale with his second personal foul. The team fouls 3 for Philadelphia, 1 for Boston. And we have that much time remaining in the second period. And Philadelphia trying to fight back.
Well, Cheeks is going to make it awfully difficult for Danny Ainge to get it up there into the front court.
Parrish couldn't control it. Out to Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge misses. McHale crashes the offensive board. Outlet pass. Good one from Malone to Sedale 3. But Boston is back. Cheeks. Boy, Maurice Cheeks.
That's the shot he wouldn't take last year he'd pull it up and then wait for Moses to get in, and now that confidence showing itself. When he got the outside shot, he's taking it, Mo Cheeks.
Well, the Celtics had a 14-point lead, and the Philadelphia 76ers have cut it to 5 with 4:02 remaining in the second.
Comes in a new fresh scent.
With 4:02 remaining in the second period, right now let's go upstairs to Pat O'Brien. Pat?
Thank you, Dick. At least halfway upstairs. Coming up at the half, we'll take a look at the game's best big man as we check late action in the NBA last night. A familiar big man is trucking once again. We'll show you why the Grateful Dead's tallest fan, Bill Walton, is in vintage form. And the story of Philadelphia's Dave Zinkoff, the voice that launched 500 imitations. We'll have the answer why, all coming up at the half. Back to you, Dick and Tom.
Pat, you get a nosebleed if we went all the way to the top, so we're glad you're only halfway.
He's half to the top.
There's the rebounding story. Philadelphia had a 9-2 edge early. They still have that advantage. Sixers are on an 11-2 run right now to cut Boston's lead to 5. Parrish, open, good pass out to Dennis Johnson.
As soon as the double developed, excellent pass by Parrish. He's picking up the double teams much quicker this year than in prior seasons.
3:35 to go. Ainge picks it off. They were going to Sadal Free. And Danny Ainge to Dennis Johnson around Cheeks. Maxwell and Bobby Jones to Mo Cheeks. Bird is back on defense. Cheeks will challenge him. And Boston has it. Bird over the shoulder. Trailing is Maxwell, and he's fouled, and that's the way you want the fast break run.
All right, when that ball goes into the corner to Larry Bird, he looks for some big guy steaming down the lane, and that time Maxwell, with his motors running, really steamed up and had a shot. Moses picking up the foul.
Second foul on Moses Malone. Substitutions, Julius Erving and Andrew Toney come back in the ball game for Philadelphia. The Doctor has 8 points, and Toney has only 4. There's Moses Malone, who has 2 fouls, but leads the Sixers with 11.
He got a little bit of a late start in this ball game, I'll tell you. The Celtics double teaming kept the ball out of his hands and forced him not to take the shots he likes to take.
Both of these teams are excellent free throw shooting. Philadelphia has improved dramatically at that this year. Each are around 80% for the year. 1 of 2 for Max. Winding down to 3 minutes to go in the first half. An 8-point lead for Boston. The teams are 1-1 on the year. Malone, Parrish slapping at it. And an illegal defense now called against Boston. So each team has been hit with 1 illegal defense, which means they're playing a zone. The next time that's called, that'll be a technical foul.
Technical foul. Somebody was into the painted area longer than they should have been, trying to help defend against Malone.
Now, Philadelphia has Clement Johnson and Moses Malone. That's been an effective duo this year. Malone working over Parrish, rolls in for him. So we'll watch Philadelphia with 2 big men in there.
What a move that was on Parrish. He beat the double team. He moved quicker than the Celtic guards could get down there and double team.
Malone has 9 points in this second period. 2:35 remaining in the first half. 49-43, the Celtics. Open again, Dennis Johnson. Parrish had position. And that'll count. And he'll go to the line. Robert Parrish.
Teams rebound. Both of them rebound. Robert Parrish. And here we're going to see Moses, before the double team develops, puts the ball on the floor and swoops by Danny Ainge and also Robert Parrish. And here comes Parrish making his presence felt. Strong rebound as Dr. J nudged him out of the way. The up fake doesn't work, but he powers it in anyway.
A 3-point play by Parrish. Julius Erving committed the foul. 9-point lead for the Boston Celtics, who at one point had a 14-point edge. Philadelphia, biggest lead was 3 in the first period. Dennis Johnson on Andrew Toney, who has not really exploded offensively yet in this game. Foul before. And it is on Dennis Johnson, his second. Both the Sixers are in the penalty, but for Boston, they have a few fouls to give as Charles Barkley, who's been kind of disappearing in this first half, is back in there.
Well, they took him out because Maxwell was abusing him, and he wasn't playing the D, but he certainly was giving him the ball.
Malone had a great chance inside. Just couldn't put it over the rim. Celtics can make it 11 if they click here. Ames does. He played all summer in various tournaments up and down the West Coast to sharpen his shooting, and the results are evident now. Danny Ainge.
And Tony, Billy Cunningham wants him to become more selfish. Go for his own shot instead of being creative and looking to pass the ball off. And Tony is turning it down.
1:25 remaining. I'm sure that's one of the things Billy will talk about at halftime. Maurice Cheeks now with 8 points in the ball game.
I like the story Billy Cunningham told me about Mo Cheeks. Over the course of the summer, he wanted him to develop leadership. So the kid went out to Chicago, played in the summer league with the youngest team he could find to direct them around.
He's still a quiet guy, though. He likes to disappear into the night. Here's Barkley, the rebound. 1:04 to go. 7 rebounds for Barkley. Still a 9-point Boston advantage. Tony, 7 points now in the ball game, and Andrew Toney has 6.
Well, he's doing what Billy wants him to do. Get a little selfish, Tony. You're a great offensive player. Take the shots.
Under a minute remaining. First half. With a screen from Larry Bird, Dennis Johnson. Here's Cheeks, and there's Julius Erving ahead of the field, and Danny Ainge tackles him. That's pass interference. Oh, that's later on. I'm sorry.
One of the ways that the Sixers like to get their forwards out onto the lanes for the fast break is when somebody takes the jump shot, and Dr. J's guarding him, is as soon as the shot goes up, he takes off. I'm going to see Barkley on the boards now. The bread truck. Watch this. Up. Barkley pulls it, and there goes Dr. J beating everybody up.
And Barkley, you just saw him on the replay rebounding, but in real life, he just gets the basket, and it's now a 5-point game again. 54-49. That's as close as the Sixers have come since they trailed by 14. Less than a half a minute remaining. Bird fouled from behind and will go to the line to shoot 2. Sixers run off 6 in a row. It's been kind of a game of streaks.
Well, both teams very capable of scoring baskets and clusters with that fast break, but I think Boston is doing it a little bit more efficiently here in the first half than the Sixers.
Julius Erving goes out. He committed his 3rd personal foul. He is the only player in the game with 3 fouls, and Bobby Jones replaces him. Celtics lost to Indiana Friday, and that gave Philadelphia the lead. You think they were looking ahead to this game?
Well, Casey Jones gave them off from practice before that Indiana game, figuring that those 6 bullets were a little bit tired, and that was the result. They lost out in Indiana.
Bird with 16 points. He's the game-high scorer. Malone, 13, is the top point man for Philadelphia. 18 on the shot clock. 7-point lead for the Celtics. They isolate Tony.
Boy, do you feel in a desperate situation when you got to guard Tony one-on-one.
Threw it up kind of wildly. And here's Clement Johnson, though, coming right back. Here's Bird. They have 3 seconds to go. Larry Bird fires it up. Almost, but not quite. And that's the end of the first half here at Boston Garden. The Celtics lead the Sixers 56-49. And we'll be back with Pat O'Brien at the half, coming right up.
New business. Chair recognizes Brother Lampard.
There's your halftime score. Boston leads Philadelphia 56-49. We are halfway above the Boston Garden parquet floor. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Once again, welcome to At the Half. You know, on our visits here, we like to have themes. And our theme today is the big man. We'll take a close look at the big man of the Clippers, Bill Walton, who is having a sensational season. And while he's only 5'3", Dave Zinkoff is 10 feet tall when he gets behind his announcer's bike out there in Philadelphia. And you're going to like that feature. But first, a look at what happened late last night around the NBA, where the big men were indeed the story. First in Oakland, where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar shows a little something new in last night's trouncing of the Warriors. Magic Johnson will take it to the hoop for 2 of his 16 points on the night. Watch now the speed and grace of James Worthy and Magic on a patented Laker fast break, and it's Worthy who will get the return pass for 2. And finally, a classic Kareem skyhook as the Lakers destroyed the Warriors, 139-109, Golden State's 10th straight loss. Walton and the Clippers hosted the Dallas Mavericks, the big redhead getting 2 of his 15 on the night there. But as time was running out, Walton misses from in the lane, and the Mavericks hold on to win 101-100. Some of them go in and some of them don't. But, you know, Bill Walton is amazing. Listen to this injury list. 5 broken noses, 3 broken fingers, a broken leg, 2 broken wrists, bone spurs in both ankles, a broken hand, a handful of knee operations, went under the knife to repair nerve damage in his right foot, not to mention breaking his left foot 3 times. It hurts reading this. He's not only still walking, but he's playing great basketball this year, and apparently the beach life agrees with this big man.
I get out on the beach as much as I can. I also like to get out here and be. Waves are really nice today. It's a very thankful mood, and certainly being in such a pleasant environment helps me a lot too.
This is the beach where Bill Walton comes to reflect on his remarking despite all those injuries. Bill Walton was always the rebel, a child of the 60s and a fan of Grateful Dead music. What made him different, though, was that he could play spectacular basketball. A 3-time All-American at UCLA, and after 3 years in Portland, he had an NBA title. Walton and Blazer Mania had arrived.
I think he was, at that point in time, maybe the best all-around center to ever play. I think you could maybe say Bill Russell was a better shot blocker, Kareem a better scorer, but when you took it all, what he lent to his team, I'm not sure anybody ever did it better from the center position.
Then there were the injuries. After his foot wouldn't cooperate, Portland soured on him and he went home to San Diego. But the injuries went with him. In 5 seasons, he barely played 100 games.
Sure, it could have been a lot better, but it could have been a lot worse. I really don't get discouraged anymore. Those things may happen, they might happen, and they can happen at any time.
But what has happened this year is the 32-year-old Walton has made all but 2 of the Clippers' 42 games. He's among the league leaders in block shots and he's displaying the same team spirit and unselfishness of the old days.
He's much more enthusiastic this year. As long as Bill stays healthy and we keep improving like we are, we go from being an ordinary team to a team that's very good.
You know, I'm really not thinking...
His good health, a good family, and good basketball.
There's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs. But you can't look back. You got to keep going. There's a lot more to do.
So far, he's been doing it for 11 years. Now, a man in the NBA, Dan Issel from Denver, who's been doing it for 15 years, is reportedly going to call it quits. This is according to Coach Doug Moe of Nuggets, who says that Issel will make an announcement on Tuesday. The 36-year-old Issel stands 5th among all-time scorers. Now, when At the Half rolls on Super Bowl Sunday from the Boston Garden, 5'3" Dave Zinkoff gets his wish. Another 500 people who talk like it. A word from your local stations is next.
Friday late night is showtime on CBS Sports. The Philadelphia 76ers meet the Los Angeles Lakers in what could be a preview of things to come. Next Saturday, a Big East showdown of nationally ranked college basketball powers. 4th-ranked St. John's visits top-ranked Georgetown. Then live coverage of the PGA Tour continues with the Los Angeles Open. Next Sunday, regional coverage of college basketball. See number 9 Kansas take on Michigan or Kentucky against Tennessee. All next weekend on CBS Sports.
After the game here on CBS, live 4th round coverage of the Phoenix Open Golf Tournament. And for a report, let's go live now to Pat Summerall. Pat?
Well, Patrick, first of all, let me tell you.
With the Super Bowl, of course, is being played later today. We might as well join in. Who do you like today?
Well, you know, Patrick, I haven't seen too much of the Dolphins except on TV throughout the year. I did see the 49ers down the stretch, and they were very impressive.
By the way, there's great weather in Palo Alto, California today. It's in the 50s now, and they expect it to be in the low 60s with no rain today for Super Bowl 19. It's freezing in Boston, by the way. We're at the Boston Garden, which is a great institution here. And, you know, speaking of institutions, at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the fans have one there. They've been able to enjoy the game even more there with the addition a half a century ago of Dave Zinkoff, who was without a doubt the premier public address announcer in the land. For 50 years, Dave Zinkoff has been the voice of Philadelphia basketball. He's as much a part of Philly as cheesesteak. Zink may be the only announcer in the world who can follow Dr. J's act. At least that was the case until Zink-alike night last Wednesday when 550 fans tried out for Zink's job.
2 minutes left in the corner.
The winner would get to take Zink's mic for the third quarter.
That's a three-pointer. 2 minutes left in the quarter.
At halftime, the judges narrowed it to 1.
That's a three-pointer. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes left in this ball game. From the University of Massachusetts, 76ers captain, Julius Irving.
Bob Freeman, a 38-year-old textile salesman, got the courtside mic for the third quarter. Walter Mitty could not have done better.
Irving from Barclay.
I enjoy this kid. And I'm liable to tell him to come back and let him do 2 quarters and rest me up.
You know, there's only one Zink off. Zink, you're my man. Coming up here at Boston Garden, the third quarter. And for that is Dick Stockton and number 15, Tom Heinsohn. Right after this, I'm Pat O'Brien. Enjoy the second half on CBS.
Where's the time?
America's game. It's fantastic.
Back in Boston Garden, the 76ers trail the Celtics by 7. At the conclusion of the game, Tom and I will select the light beer most valuable player of the game. In conjunction with the award, light beer from Miller will present a check for $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in that player's name. Well, Tom, we talked about 2 teams that like to fast break, and you mentioned that the Philadelphia 76ers have more speed than the Boston Celtics, but the Celtics did something very good in their first break, didn't they, in the first half?
Well, I'll tell you, those forwards for the Celtics, McHale and Maxwell particularly, were really getting up that court on the fast break, and that's what had create a lot of those easy opportunities, as we'll see. McHale on the left side of your screen, as soon as his shot is taken, off he goes as soon as he knows one of the big guys has the rebound. There's a good outlet pass, and McHale already up the court, and they've gotten more than their share of those today.
When Maurice Cheeks came into the ball game for Philadelphia, they came back from that 14-point deficit.
Well, the Sixers were going more and more to their half-court game, and the Celtics were taking it away with double teams on Malone, and Cheeks puts the fast break back into the Sixer game, and that comeback bid by pushing it up to the floor very, very quickly against the defense.
We talked a lot about Philadelphia's bench being deeper than Boston's, but don't forget the Celtics have Kevin McHale, and that's why they have a 15-6 edge. Going from the free throw line, the Celtics are 12 of 14. That's a big story.
Yes, it is, but you get a lot of free throws if you are really running up the court and going for layups. That's when you get most of your foul shot opportunities, and the Celtics also went at Barkley early with Maxwell, and he picked up some quick ones.
We had 11 lead changes early. The Celtics raised the lead to 44-30, and the Sixers twice came back to cut it to 5 as we start the third period. It's Danny Ainge in the backcourt with Dennis Johnson, and Tony doing a blanket job on Dennis. Here's Ainge getting free from Maurice Cheeks in the corner. Danny Ainge gets the first basket in this third period.
You'd never see him take one of those the last couple of years for fear that if he missed, he'd be back on the bench.
So Bird and Malone, as you see, the leading scorers in the game. Barkley, that was tough. He had 4 arms in his face.
Well, he reminds me so much of George McGinnis. He shoots the ball on the way down, and I think sooner or later some of these NBA defensive players are going to pick that up.
Bird. Larry Bird, 7 of 13 from the field, and the Celtics by 9. Julius Irving scored 8 points, averaging 20 on the year, and a Philadelphia foul. Let's see.
That was a Mack truck backing in to the garage on Maxwell and backed them off right down into the ground. Moses Malone takes the foul. Watch Moses just backing up. Maxwell says, I'm getting out of your way the best I can. Hits the paint. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like that. You love that.
I love that. Huh?
When you played, they didn't have that. You were going to go play gin or something. Larry Bird inside, Larry Bird outside. Larry Bird, 20 points already in the game, and Boston is up again by 11.
Six is trying to make some adjustments on Larry Bird, even on the outside. That time Moses went out and switched on him.
Tony, guarded by Dennis Johnson. Barkley doubled with Ainge and Bird, leaving Cheeks open. Mo loses the fight. Here's almost a 2-on-1, but Maurice Cheeks broke it up, creating a 3-on-2 for Philadelphia. But the Sixers are having trouble controlling it, and Maxwell goes in. Philadelphia had a chance, but they're sloppy here in the third, and a timeout called for by Billy Cunningham. The Celtics have outscored Philadelphia already by 6 early here in the third.
Well, great outlet pass by Parrish after he took the ball away from Dr. J, and here's Maxwell eluding Tony.
Vladimir! Where is Comrade Petrenko?
But people loved him. They did. If you thought people hated him, some did. But if you thought you knew the man, think again. Beginning next Sunday, Robert Kennedy and his Times.
Celtics by 13. We're going to see two things here. Continued hustle by the Celtic forwards and really a terrific pass.
You're going to see right now Dennis Johnson trying to create a fast break. Cheeks with those great hands picks it away. And here comes Dr. J, and a little defense by Robert Parrish's knee. Long pass up to Bird. Bounce pass that almost goes out of the building. And two easy ones to the hustling forward Maxwell.
Philadelphia has turned it over 12 times, and Boston has 14 points, and that is a big story when you consider that the lead is 13. The Celtics have outscored Philadelphia 8-2, hitting all 4 of their shots in the third. Barkley with Bird in his face. And the 3-second violation called for. One thing Billy Cunningham told us about Charles Barkley is that you have to remember he just finished his college season. He's a rookie, and now we're almost at 40 games, so he may be a bit tired at this stage.
He's got his second stripe on his varsity sweater now.
Bird from Ainge, blocked by Julius. Fine play, but Maxwell tried to. Bird open. That says a lot about this game, just that last segment inside.
When Bird is hitting outside like that, there's a happy Bird.
Cheeks, quick pass inside to Barkley. Good feed to Malone. Barkley could have gone up with a shot, but everyone went up with him, and there was Moses Malone, who has 15 points, is the leading scorer for the 76ers. Back to 13. Julius hanging with Bird. Philadelphia ball.
Here's somebody going for a steal. Bird misses it. All of a sudden, a nice laydown pass to Moses. They had the entire back line of the Celtic defense moving.
Back to live action. Maurice Cheeks hits the basket. 8 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the third period. Winner of this game will be in first place at the end of the day in the Atlantic Division. Good play by Barkley, but Maxwell held on to it. There was Bird. How did he know Robert Parrish was there? Well, that's one of the things that make Larry Bird a special player.
He's got slow feet, but he's got a fast mind. He's 3 steps ahead of everybody else. I call him the Bobby Fischer of the NBA.
No draws when he plays, though.
Nope.
Just
Barnes better go home to Russia.
Malone doubled inside Barkley. Good move. Charles Barkley with 12 points. He's the second leading scorer for Philadelphia. 68-57. The game hangs at 11. A big spurt early in the third period as Philadelphia came down and cut the Celtic lead to 5. It was 7 at the half, and it's up to 11. Bird already has 22, by the way.
The Sixers have just not been able to get their fast break game going as well as I thought they might.
Bird. And a foul, loose ball variety against Cedric Maxwell, who thought the foul was on Barkley. For Maxwell, his second foul.
You know, when you got two guys like Moses with that wide body and Barkley, who's a shorter version but an even wider body, there's not much room in there to rebound.
Bird has the edge, as you see, on Irving in the scoring department. Julius has not been a major factor so far, but as soon as we say it, he gets a basket. And how many times have we seen Julius all of a sudden explode and dominate doing the things he does well, passing?
That was a smart feed, though, by Barkley to Dr. J. He spotted him open underneath.
Now it's a 9-point Boston lead. Dennis Johnson for three. Maxwell gets the foul inside. So Boston doing a much better job off the offensive boards than Philadelphia today.
That time Barkley was out of position. He ended up dead underneath the basket, and Maxwell swooped in there. That was a great rebound by Maxwell. He's pretty nifty himself on those offensive boards. That snake-like body of his, he just crawls in these wide open spots. Look at him in there. There's Barkley trying to block out Bird. They turned Maxwell loose. Dr. J let him go.
You know, Barkley, we mentioned earlier, had a lot of problems with foul trouble early. That was only his first personal foul. Each team has one team foul. Out of bounds. Boston ball. Another turnover by the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Celtics will inbound.
Tony really popped off that pick to get the pass. He had 1 foot out of bounds.
Under 7 minutes remaining in the third period. Nick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn at Boston Garden. Parrish was surprised at that pass from Bird. Ainge. Philadelphia may be tightening defenses just a bit here. Deflection. Loose ball. That's what they're doing. Ainge knocks it out of bounds. It's still Philadelphia ball, but you could sense how Philadelphia is just tightening it up a little bit on the defensive end the last time the Celtics had the possession.
Well, when they play that tough defense, that comes steals. The next thing is easy hoops up the other end. So Casey to talk about that situation.
And Boston is up their lead since halftime.
A cut above the rest. The NBA All-Star Game on CBS Sports.
Hand warming, hot hand warming.
Put your hands together around the hot Big Mac.
Hot, hot, pork, hot French fry.
Don't it warm your hands, make you want to clap.
Filet of fish, a hot, hot dish.
It's a good time for the great taste.
Big Mac, pork patties, French fries, chicken, McNuggets. Hand warming.
It's a good time for the great taste. McDonald's.
It's hand warming time at McDonald's.
Feel it, feel it, feel it.
Reed struggles for the ball. It's loose. He fights for it. He dives for it. Grabs it on the floor. In the corner to Billy Cunningham. Underneath the Havlicek, he lays it up and in.
So the 35th annual All-Star Game, bringing together the best to play the game. In 3 weeks on CBS Sports from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. We should have a record crowd. There's Billy Cunningham, who has been in the All-Star Games. And there's John Havlicek, who is on the receiving end of that pass from Billy Cunningham, one of the greats.
Got a nifty sweater on, doesn't he?
Yes.
A little bit more nifty than Luke Carnesecca on yesterday.
I was thinking that, but I didn't say it. Glad you did. Nearly 6.5 remaining in the third. Irving, Cheeks, Malone, Barkley, and Tony in the ball game for the Sixers. Trying to see if their defense can pay off with some points here. Irving, free, wide open. The Doctor has 12 now. Julius Irving allowed to go out to the perimeter a lot more because of the presence of Barkley now.
And that double team on Tony backfired as Dr. J feeling more and more comfortable shooting outside.
It's a 9-point lead, 70-61, but Philadelphia, see if their defense, they've been trading baskets really in the last 3 minutes or so. Larry Bird misses, and there's Malone with the outlet to Irving. Barkley and Tony are filling lanes now. Cheeks behind Irving.
But slowly the Sixers are taking away that fast breaking game of the Celtics and making them go more to the half court.
Tony explodes inside. That's how he can beat you, not only with the quick jump shot, the stop and pop, but he can also go around you in a hurry. And now it is a 7-point game again, and the Sixers, closest they've been 5 since Boston opened that real big lead in the second period. We have 5:25 remaining third period. Ames free. And he was underneath, and I think he thought a defender was closer than he really was and rushed the shot. Irving coming back in the lane, feeding Barkley. There's Charles Barkley, and Billy Cunningham likes what he sees, and the Boston lead has been cut to 5 now. It's 70-65.
And I don't blame them because they're getting into the rhythm of their fast break game and creating easy inside opportunities for themselves, these Sixers.
Third time they've cut the Celtic lead to 5. Danny Ainge is short with it. And now Mo Cheeks pushes it up to cut it to 3, perhaps. Tony doesn't get the roll, but gets the foul and will go to the line. And the smiles on the Philadelphia bench tell you that the Sixers are coming back in this one. Philadelphia has their shooting eyes on here in this third period. Boston struggling, but getting more shots.
Well, they're being relegated, the Celtics, to outside shooting, and the Sixers are getting their inside game going and the fast pace, that fast break going. And in comes Kevin McHale to perhaps give him some board control and give Larry Bird a little rest as he's missed a couple outside shots.
So McHale will play the forward position. Earlier he was in as a center when Parrish sat down. So Parrish remains at center, and McHale at forward along with Maxwell. This is the closest Philadelphia has come since they trailed 30-28 in the second period early. It'll be a foul against the Sixers, and Maxwell shaken up, holding his back there. Barkley also down on the court.
Well, Maxwell put a good move coming into the hoop, but
Ray Melchiorre, the Celtic trainer, immediately comes on along with Casey Jones. He went down hard.
But that's what the Celtics have to do, is penetrate, pick up some fouls. He gets by Dr. J, goes into Barkley, goes down, right on his money belt. That should have cushioned him. There it is again. And Barkley not quite establishing position. Maxwell hits it with his back.
Second foul on Barkley. Max is up. Seems to be all right.
But the Celtics were just standing around. Maxwell that time trying to make something happen, not score, at least get to the free throw line. Celtics have a tendency, Dick, not to push the ball up the court when they're ahead. And they get a little lazy. And then they get forced into their half-court game more and more. And you can't do that against the Sixers.
Don't forget, Friday night, 11:30 Eastern time. It'll be the Philadelphia 76ers against the Los Angeles Lakers. 11:30 Eastern from the Forum in Inglewood. Another fine battle on CBS, late night edition. 76ers with Moses Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Magic Johnson for the Lakers.
You know, Maxwell loves to play in big games. I mean, I don't think, ever failed to rise to the occasion. And Larry Bird on the bench right now, I think primarily because he missed a couple of outside shots, Dick. And Casey wants to rest him because he knows he's going to need that outside shooting down the stretch.
One and two for Maxwell. The Sixers had run off 8 in a row before Max's free throw. 4:35 remaining in the third period. 71-67. Philadelphia has forged back. They can cut it to 2. Moses Malone trying to get position. Now goes to the weak side. Tony didn't have control, and it's Boston again. Sixers have turned the ball a lot over inside today.
Very unusual for them. Andrew Toney is very good going to the hoop, but that time he just missed the handle of it. But they're making their bid right now, the Sixers, with defense.
You could see it and sense it about 2.5 minutes ago when they just came out to meet the Celtics a little tighter. But Danny Ainge will loosen it up. He has 8 points in the ball game.
And Andrew Toney just daring them to shoot out there. They're trying to pack it in to deny the inside game of the Celtics. Big guys getting the ball.
6-point game now. Crowd thought Irving had lost it. Moses Malone crowded underneath. McHale the rebound, and the Celtics will try to open it up to 8 points with 3:40 remaining in the third period. Open is Dennis Johnson.
Good push-up that time. Allowed Parrish to get into the low post position. Before any help could develop, Dennis Johnson was wide open.
5 points in a row run off by the Celtics.
Well, moms and dads the world around give their kids the same old...
Going where streaks have dominated, it seems to be the team that's hot the last in this ball game was going to prevail, the way it's going here.
Well, both trying to establish their power inside game. The other team denying that. Both teams really trying to establish more with the fast break than anything else.
Bobby Jones in there. Barkley on the receiving end of a Malone pass. Barkley on the offensive glass. Great defense by the Celtics because they had batted the ball away. Danny Ainge comes back with the layup. Celtics smothered Barkley at one end and Danny Ainge on the break on the other. And it is now a 10-point lead once again for the Boston Celtics, and they earned that.
Block a shot, get a layup.
Tony. And he'll shoot. What was really impressive is that Barkley had several chances to go in, and they were like swatting at the ball. Tommy.
Here he gets it inside, but watch, on the way down, he shoots the ball, and they were waiting. Watch him get it again now, and they'll hang right there with them. And on the way down, Parrish blocks it. A little bad habit.
Friday, late night on CBS Sports.
Tommy, we saw the front end of that play, the rebound, good defense on Barkley, and then there was the second half.
Yeah, but watch Kevin McHale, after the block shot, get out on that fast break, put a 3-on-1 situation on the defense, and Danny Ainge converts the layup. That's what the Celtics have been trying to do most of this half, and they got back in the groove there.
Boston has out fast break pointed the Philadelphia 76ers to this point, and it's easy for me to say.
Only for you to say that. Not me. I wouldn't dare try that.
Well, I don't think I will try it again. Danny Ainge. No one doubted whether he could start, and the questions will still linger with Gerald Henderson gone about the depth when they get into the meat of the playoffs at guard, particularly for the Celtics.
Well, that's Casey Jones's challenge right now, to develop a cohesive contribution consistently by the bench of the Celtics. There's no question McHale is a valuable sixth man, but after that, they've been very inconsistent. The seventh man, the eighth man, they haven't gotten great production there.
2:50 remaining. Scott Wedman. Here's Rick Carlisle, a long shot who made it out of the University of Virginia. Greg Kite, who hardly plays. Carlos Scott, who has already made a contribution. Andrew Toney with both free throws, 12 points in the game. 5 players in double figures for the Philadelphia 76ers, 4 for Boston. McHale. Moses Malone got a piece of it. And a foul. Barkley might have fouled Parrish over the top. If so, it'll be Charles' third.
Well, that was a great pass into McHale. And that made Moses come over to help out. And Barkley ends up having to guard Parrish to drop down. And that creates a big problem for the bread truck there.
Power man with finesse, Charles Barkley. Each team with 3 team fouls in this third period as Parrish.
His college coach, you know, Barkley said you look at his size, he only eats 1 meal a day, but he never stops eating.
He's morning to night, right? Parrish gets the goose egg. Philadelphia trying to cut it to 6 now. Malone. Doubled with Ainge and Parrish, who's open. Boston rotating nicely on defense. They couldn't hit the open net so easily. Good defense by the Celtics. Philadelphia couldn't spot the man free.
There's an opportunity where they could have fast broken the Celtics, and they slowed it down instead.
Ainge puts a fake on Clint Richardson. Leads to McHale. Boston's clicking.
That was a smart play by Danny Ainge. Lifted 2 defenders, knew that some big guy would have to come racing at him, spotted McHale underneath.
You think he's having more fun now than when he hit 220 with the Toronto Blue Jays?
Listen, they're making errors in the third base.
Here's Barkley, long range. Malone tips it in. Got position. It's as simple as that. Moses Malone with 17 points. 79-71, the Celtics lead. That much time remaining in the third period.
Well, the Sixers really have the Celtics slowing down right now.
Parrish. Knocked away by Cheeks.
Boy, what hands by Cheeks.
2-on-1. Richardson all the way. And the foul. They're going to count the basket. They're going to call it goaltending on Dennis Johnson, and Clint Richardson gets credit for the hoop.
Here's the move as DJ had them both. Good move by Dennis Johnson to get at the ball, but it already hit the glass. Goaltending.
Under a minute remaining in the third period. 79-73 the Celtics. Their biggest lead was 15 points, actually, in the third period. Philadelphia cut it down. 2 seconds on the shot clock, and Dennis Johnson buries it.
That's a heartbreaker for the Sixers. They had the 24-second clock worked down to 4, and DJ hits the bomb.
34 seconds.
Well, you're hot, pal.
Cheeks. Ainge staying with him. Bobby Jones. Gets the rebound, and the Celtics can play for the last shot. The Celtics are 28-0 when they are leading after 3 periods, and they will have the lead after 3 in this game. McHale goes in with the basket.
Everybody on the Sixers made the right move, but they just missed the pass.
4 seconds to go. Clint Richardson misses a 3-point attempt. Bobby Jones' shot is no good, and so the Boston Celtics will take a record of 28-0 after a lead. They're in front 83-73. We now pause for a word from your local station.
This is C.
That's what they paid for.
I know that when I'm on the basketball court, I'm there to do the show.
NBA action. It's fantastic.
The preceding message was furnished by the National Basketball Association. Sixers and the Boston Celtics is sponsored by Miller High Life. Welcome to Miller Time. Aftershave Skin Conditioner by Menon. And by ITT, which believes the best ideas are the ideas that help people.
Welcome back to Boston Garden, where the Boston Celtics lead the Philadelphia 76ers 83-73 going into the final 12 minutes, barring overtime. The Sixers 23-1 when they're leading after 3 quarters. The Celtics 28-0, so history's on their side. I remember when Philadelphia won a 7th game here a few years ago. You can throw that out the window.
When these two teams get together with stats like that, they're the exception.
This is where we say we throw the record books out the window.
Throw it away.
One of the great cliches in sports history.
Throw it away.
Clint Richardson and Andrew Toney start in the backcourt. Bobby Jones and Charles Barkley up front, and Clement Johnson begins the 4th period at center, number 45 for Philadelphia. Larry Bird is in the game. McHale and Parrish up front. Carlos Clark is in there now. Barkley in a crowd. Clement Johnson tipped up by Barkley. They were in there a long time.
What a quick leaper, Barkley.
16 for Barkley.
Boy, I'll tell you, he really gets on that offensive board.
McHale. Good defense by Barkley, and he gets the rebound. Philadelphia coming out strong here in the 4th period. 12 rebounds for Charles Barkley. 6 off the offensive glass. Toney doubled, loses the ball, and Carlos Clark tore the ball away. Here's Ainge. Boston's biggest lead, 15, and the Sixers cut it to 3 in the 3rd period. Here's Danny Ainge. Well, he's really popping. You can see with Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge, what we talked about earlier, that the Celtics no longer have to worry about outside shooting in the backcourt.
No longer, Dick. And what's happening in the NBA right now, they gain such respect that you have to go out and play them, and that's opening up the inside game. But the Sixers right here are still backing down, daring them to shoot it.
Clement Johnson. McHale scrapping for the rebound. Carlos Clark. Double. Clint Richardson, a good defensive guard. Here's Kevin McHale, double team. Ainge baseline, wild shot. McHale on a break. Billy Cunningham is yelling foul, and a technical foul has been called against Billy Cunningham of Philadelphia. I think. Let's make sure it's on Billy. A T has been called against Philadelphia.
called on Tony's going to be shooting it. Who was it called on?
Danny Ainge.
Huh. Claiming he was fouled, I guess.
You know, that's unusual. I mean, Boston got the basket. Billy Cunningham screamed, yelling foul, and they called a technical, and of course they went to the other way.
Well, Danny probably yelled, hey, I got fouled on that shot. I don't... Shooting it. Who was it called?
Danny Ainge.
Huh. Claiming he was fouled, I guess.
You know, that's unusual. I mean, Boston got the basket. Billy Cunningham screamed, yelling foul, and they called a technical, and of course they went to the other way.
Well, Danny probably yelled, hey, I got fouled on that shot. I don't shoot air. And Darryl would have none of it.
He was the last guy I would have picked on the court for a technical foul. All right. 87-75. Tony loses the ball, and now they say a foul on Carlos Clark. Shoved him a bit. Carlos Clark with the foul.
There's McHale inside a moment ago, and there was Ainge thinking he was fouled. A long shot. McHale just happens to be in the right place. Thank you very much.
Ainge wasn't even in.
Well, he said he got hit on the play when he took the jump shot.
Another foul on Clark. Carlos Clark picks up 2 in a hurry, and I wonder how Casey Jones will play this. This is a big moment for Carlos Clark, who has emerged. Quinn Buckner has become the forgotten man in the backcourt for the Boston Celtics.
You know, sometimes after a technical foul, referees will react, and they're really trying to get this game under control. Any kind of contact right now, they're blowing their whistle.
A kick ball on that play. 13-point lead for the Celtics. Barkley travels.
There's Barkley saying, I didn't do that. Really?
You know, one thing I noticed, Tom, is that Quinn Buckner's the first man off the bench. He's become a M.L. Clark cheerleader here. Quickly, let's go to Phoenix, Arizona. You know, we have the final round of the Phoenix Open coming up right after the game. Right now, let's get an update from Pat Summerall. Pat?
Well, it's the 50th Phoenix Open, as a matter of fact, and Calvin Peete has gathered his game together and moved into a tie with Doug Toole. They're both 13 under par. Morris Satolsky is just 1 off the pace at -12. Dan Forsman, Don Pooley, and Aoki are all at -9. That's our situation. Let's go back to Dick Stockton.
Thank you, Pat. 9:56 remaining in the fourth period. 87-75. Turnovers. Philadelphia has turned it over 17 times. And that's one of the things they need to cut, according to their coach. They didn't cut it much today, as Boston has converted it into a 20-6 edge.
One of the things is that trying to cut down on the turnovers is have Tony shoot the ball more instead of trying to pass it.
Hasn't done it.
Hasn't done it.
Moses Malone and Clement Johnson are both in the ball game right now. Maurice Cheeks is taking a rest, and Clint Richardson and Andrew Toney are in the backcourt. Let's watch Toney right now. He has 12 points, but really has not been an offensive force in this game. Malone inside on Parrish is fouled. He was under the hoop, and his foul will go to the line. That is the 4th team foul against the Boston Celtics in this period. Now there's Quinn Buckner, who has played only 19 minutes in the last 6 games, Tommy.
I'll tell you, he's so far out, he's not even sitting on the bench. He's on a box, a milk carton out there. But one of the things about Buckner, I think the press here has been really unfair with him. They expected him to score a lot of points. He's not a real offensive player. He's a defensive player and a pace setter for the fast break.
Never has been a point maker.
No, and they expect unreal things from him.
I have a hunch before it's all over this year, he's going to play a role.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Against Toney now. Irving the rebound on the open court. He's tough. 11-point lead. And Irving nearly threw it away, and the foul is called. Julius Irving, no foul there. Stepped on the end line to give the ball to the Boston Celtics. Maxwell's going to come back in the ball game shortly. Wally Rooney, who's working the game along with Darryl Garrettson, said we've got to do this again. Maxwell started to come into the ball game, and he can't yet.
They blew the horn, but not the whistle, and Max had a foot on the court.
Ainge and Clark in the backcourt. So Dennis Johnson getting rest for the waning moments. Under 9 minutes to go as Clint Richardson fouls Danny Ainge. And here comes Dennis Johnson back in the ball game along with Cedric Maxwell. Parrish goes out. Robert Parrish today has scored 7 points. He has 5 rebounds and has 4 personal fouls. And Danny Ainge has played well. He has 12 points. He's hit some important shots from the perimeter for the Boston Celtics, who are trying to hold on to an 11-point lead.
It's a crucial time. This turns Dennis Johnson into the point guard, and he's not renowned for pushing the ball up the court.
He likes to walk it up.
Yeah.
Going in the hoop. Maxwell. And the rebound by Clement Johnson. So Clement Johnson and Moses Malone both in there, and Philadelphia has done well with that combination in that 13-game winning streak which they have. It's the longest in the league this year.
Twin towers for the Sixers and a small front court for the Celtics.
Irving loses it. Carlos Clark with a good defensive play. 3-on-3. Bird trailing. He's open. He hits. 24 points for the Birdman. Timeout. And it's a 13-point lead again.
During peak hour.
We're here in the 4th period at Boston Garden with the Celtics leading. You know, Tommy, these two teams have put on some great shows in the playoffs in recent years, but in the last 2 seasons, Philadelphia and Boston have not been matched up. And I know a lot of people are anxious to see whether those two teams, best record in the league, could do it again.
What do you think those tickets would go for, scalper-wise? But I think there have been other clubs that have given both the Sixers and the Celtics trouble. Well, Boston has always had trouble with Washington, and then Milwaukee knocked them off. And last year, the Sixers had trouble with the Nets. So it's not a foregone conclusion they're going to meet this year in the finals yet.
Other people have ideas. Look what New Jersey did with the Sixers last year. Sedale Threet is in the ball game, guarded by Clark. Clement Johnson turnaround over Larry Bird. Bobby Jones is checked in, and Malone and McHale have a slight tangle as they come up court.
Well, out of that timeout, Billy Cunningham went to the matchup he thought would produce something. Clem Johnson being guarded by Bird.
And he's got Sedale Threet and Maurice Cheeks in the backcourt, so you know he's going for quickness and defense right now there. Maxwell puts it up and will go to the line for the Celtics.
I tell you, Moses Malone really anticipated that little swing move by Maxwell, was right on the ball and giving him trouble. I don't believe that was a foul.
4 fouls, though, on Moses with 7:36 remaining.
Moses doesn't get too many fouls called on him, so
never fouls out.
One bad one, not going to hurt his career. There's Moses anticipating a swing move. Look at him, just sitting waiting there for Maxwell to come back with it.
Remains a 13-point game with 7:36 to go. So we'll see what the Cheeks Sedale Threet quick backcourt combination works. Bird anticipating the pass. Makes the steal, and Sedale Threet comes right back. 2-on-1 break. Threet and Cheeks, and Bobby Jones the trailer. 7 minutes, 15 seconds to go, and it's an 11-point lead for the Boston Celtics. They've led most of the way. The biggest lead was 15, and Philadelphia cut it to 3 before the Celtics moved out again.
And the more the Celtics let the Sixers half-court defense get into it, the more difficult the win is going to be. They've got to get it up there quickly and get the open shot. Bird shooting well from outside will destroy that theory, however.
He's got 26. Philadelphia ball. So I guess Andrew Toney hasn't delivered the offense that Billy Cunningham wanted, judging by who's in there now.
They did a heck of a job on Andrew Toney. Forced him certain ways to help situations.
Foul. Dennis Johnson fouls Cheeks.
DJ is really adept at that move, poking it away from those quick guards. But when he misses it, he turns those quick guards right back into the pack. And oftentimes on the miss, that man will score an easy hoop.
Celtics with 4 team fouls, 1 more in there in the penalty. The Sixers have 2. Malone coming out a bit. Johnson and McHale in his face. Here's Sedale 3. Clement Johnson is there, and it's knocked away by Bird, but Bobby Jones scores.
Well, with Parrish not being out there, and they start to move that ball around, and losing some rebounding advantages with the Twin Towers of the Sixers being in there.
Cheeks defending Johnson. Maxwell coming out. Clement Johnson is defending Kevin McHale. Carlos Clark got free momentarily. A steal by Cheeks. Ahead of the field is Sedale 3, and they're going to call a foul. And Billy Cunningham is saying that's 2 points.
Took 2 points away from here. Coach hates to see that. A smart foul by Dennis Johnson. Saved the basket.
That was. Well, this were hockey, probably try a penalty shot.
In comes Danny Ainge now for the Celtics, a key substitution for Carlos Clark to perhaps put a little pace back in, and I see Robert Parrish coming off the bench now too, Dick.
Dennis Johnson, though, on that foul, a good foul, picked up number 5. So Dennis Johnson is in definite foul trouble. He remains in the ball game as Mo Cheeks hits the free throw, and now Parrish comes back in as Maxwell sits down.
Well, now Casey Jones has responded to the Twin Tower move of Billy Cunningham by using his twins, McHale and Parrish.
9-point lead for the Celtics, 93-84, just under 6 minutes remaining in the 4th period. Bobby Jones, one of the best defenders in the league, 8 straight years, all defensive NBA effort, coming out to challenge Bird with Clement Johnson. Good defensive play by Johnson. Bobby Jones all alone at the other end. Gets the basket. They almost missed him.
Boy, that aggressive defense of the Sixers starting to come into play here, Dick. They can do it.
It's a 7-point lead for the Celtics. Philadelphia came within 3, but Boston has always had that little extra reserve to open it up again. But the Sixers have run off 6 in a row. It's a 93-86 lead. Don't go away.
Sinex in regular and extra strength.
From Vicks, of course.
Tommy, on the CBS chalkboard, show us what the Sixers have done defensively to get back in this game.
They've turned very aggressive. You'll watch Larry Bird all the way out to get his hands on the ball. You'll see him now step way out of the normal place he likes to get the ball, and now he starts to come into it. And watch Clem Johnson right here to come over and help out on Bird, and now you'll see them have to pull up again. And time going off the clock, and Bird has to take a rushed shot and a strong rebound. And look at Bobby Jones way up the other end of the court.
5:25 remaining. It's 93-86. Larry Bird will inbound. There's the foul story. Dennis Johnson is the only one in the game with 5.
Move over, would you please? Don't let him get it. Okay, stay home.
Cheeks on aim. Parrish shooting away from the hoop. Loose ball comes out for Boston and a new 24-second clock. 7-point game in favor of the Celtics, looking to regain their lead in the NBA's Atlantic Division. Against Cheeks, Ainge working. And he'll go to the line.
That's a heads-up play by Danny Ainge. Billy Cunningham not liking that one, but Celtics elected to go to the matchup, the bigger range being guarded by Cheeks in the low post.
College basketball and a traditional rivalry, DePaul over Notre Dame. Danny Ainge shooting 2. The Boston Celtics have shared or held the lead in the Atlantic Division, or had, from the 5th game of the season until Friday night when they lost to Indiana. That gave the Sixers the lead, and what's at stake at this point is that the end of play on January 27th, the team with the highest percentage, his coach goes to the All-Star game. It'll be Casey or Billy. Clement Johnson gets the basket and the foul. Clement Johnson, what kind of play has he given them off the bench?
Billy Cunningham thinks that Clem Johnson has really come into his own this year, playing the best he's been. More mentally alert to getting into the ball game, and there's the low post against Larry Bird that teams like to use so much. Dr. J reports in. Speed for the fast break and some aggressive defense. Ball stealing. That's about the stage of the game right now for the Sixers.
That's what the substitution so important at the later stages of the game. Moses Malone going to the hoop. Short on that one, and Parrish gets the rebound. So they got some couple of twin towers and 3 quick ones in for Philadelphia.
I tell you, they're trying to deny Danny Ainge getting the ball to run that offense to push it up fast, trying to force the Celtics more into the half court.
Bird is fouled. He was hit by Clement Johnson going to the hoop and will go to the line.
Here's Bird being guarded by Dr. J. And then, now once that ball gets in there, he heads strong to the hoop.
Now when they had that problem, they were both, I think, embarrassed because neither of them was the type to get into a fight. Things got out of hand, and I don't think we'll ever see that again.
Both are great guys, and I'm sure you're right, Dick. But both extremely competitive, and they fight you for everything, so it was an unfortunate situation.
28 points for Larry Bird. He has surpassed the season's average, and with 4:20 remaining in the 4th period, it is a 9-point lead for the Celtics, 97-88. Sixers get inside to Moses Malone, and a foul called against Mo. The Celtics are in the penalty. Philadelphia, their next foul will put him in the penalty, and now Robert Parrish has 5. So with Dennis Johnson and Robert Parrish each with 5 fouls, the Celtics are in deeper foul trouble than the Sixers, who will now bring in Andrew Toney, replacing Sedale 3.
Well, they're going to double Moses every single time they can to try and make him kick it back outside, and they forced him underneath the basket, but did end up fouling him. One of the things by using McHale at this point with Parrish is it forces Larry Bird to have to guard Dr. J. That's a matchup that perhaps Casey Jones doesn't always like. He'd rather have Maxwell playing him.
97-90 Boston. Winding down, 4 minutes remaining. They go to McHale. Toney trying to cheat over and double. Quickly gets back to Dennis Johnson. Now Parrish posts up. Johnson's looking for Parrish. Bird, pull away. What a shot. 30 points for Larry Bird, and it's a 9-point game. And the Celtics continue to keep the pressure on the 76ers.
Well, the pot's still boiling, though, Dick.
Steal by Danny Ainge. Bird. Parrish, triple team. Danny Ainge. Tantalizingly rolls off the rim, and now Maurice Cheeks comes back. Julius Erving, and there's Clement Johnson at the other end. 3:15 remaining, 99-92. The play has been notched up a few decibels right here.
You know, that Clem Johnson with that offensive rebound, I think he learned a little bit from watching Barkley play.
Here's a switch. Here's Dennis Johnson. The Celtics are hitting important outside shots. Bird, Ainge, and now DJ.
That's something that didn't happen too frequently last season.
101-92. 2:43 remaining. Offensive foul. Toney. Good call by Darryl Garrettson as he ran right into the stationary Dennis Johnson.
They're forcing Toney to go to the baseline, Dick. Great defense by the Celtics.
When they put a heavy...
Norman Inglewood, the Philadelphia 76ers against the Los Angeles Lakers. Always a great battle. These teams have fought it out for the NBA World Championship 3 of the last 5 years. That's Friday night, 11:30 Eastern. Magic, Kareem, Moses Malone, and the Doctor will all be there, and hope you will be there too.
We're going to see some great team defense. We'll see over on the left side of your screen, Andrew Toney being guarded by Dennis Johnson, and he knows that Moses Malone is down in this position being guarded by Parrish. So the next thing you know, he says, I'm going to force you to drive to the left, the baseline side, knowing that he can't go all the way. And then when he does come back to the middle, he makes the charge happen. Watch this. Beautiful defense by DJ, anticipating the only place for Toney to go is back to the middle. Picks up the charge.
Tommy, 2:40 remaining. The Celtics have raised it up again to 9 points. Philadelphia's thoughts here.
Philadelphia is going more and more to their inside game. Dr. Moses Malone. Barkley might not be a bad man to have in this game right now, but it looks like Billy Cunningham is going with defense, saying that Bobby Jones is going to do it.
Danny Ainge. Now Dennis Johnson. 15 on the shot clock. Bird on a touch pass to McHale, and a three-point shot by Larry Bird, and that may be the beginning of the end for the Sixers as Billy Cunningham calls a timeout, and the Sixers have one timeout left. Tommy, the Celtics have come in with the important outside shots, but now the Sixers have to think, what do we have to do to get in there? They narrow the lead in 1-3, but they just can't penetrate the Boston Celtics, who are not having that much of a lapse.
Well, you just said it all, Dick, practically. The outside shooting of the Celtics is making that defense that the Sixers are trying to put on them meaningless. When you shoot over an aggressive defense the way Bird just has, the defense doesn't come into play. Offensively, the Celtics have really taken away Moses Malone's game.
So if you're Billy Cunningham, what would you be saying in that huddle?
Well, you got to either find a way to shake Moses loose and get it to him quicker before the double develops, or find another man to go to. That would have been Barkley, perhaps. Well, we're going to see this little pity pat against this aggressive defense by the Sixers. Now they try to surround McHale. It goes back out to Bird. Too long a shot for Bobby Jones to get out and defend against. The three-pointer works, and when you're shooting like that, no defense stops it.
Larry Bird has 33 points in the game. He is shooting well over 50% from the field. He is a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. Rebounds, assists, steals, and 3 block shots. He had 4 block shots in the first meeting between these clubs. So at the top of the game, we said maybe Larry Bird is the best non-center ever to play this game, and before he's through, that may be the common thought.
I think so. You know, we talked about Isaiah Thomas, our last ball game, Dick, against the Lakers, the Pistons, about picking the right psychological moment to make a basket. Bird is a master at that. He can demoralize you and your whole team with one shot, and he loves to do it.
So he hit that big three-pointer. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Philadelphia down by 12. They need a lot of points in a hurry. Julius gets 2 back. He has 14, below his average of 20 for the year.
The Celtics will settle for Dr. J shooting outside shots instead of Moses getting the ball underneath.
Under 2 minutes to go in the ball game. 9 on the shot clock, so the Celtics are using the clock well. Down to 4. Harris. Another nail in the Sixers' coffin this afternoon.
That was a big hoop by Parrish because he almost lost it to Cheeks on a double.
Cheeks for 3, short with it. McHale. I think there were too many instances in this game when the teams traded baskets, when the Sixers had a chance to close it.
Well, I think the Celtics did a heck of a job of containing the fast break of the more speedier 76ers. I shouldn't have said more speedier. Pure speedier.
We know what you mean. Here's Bird running up. Look at that. Take that, red and blue. 35 for Bird. Irving off the glass.
And Bird likes to administer the sword to the heart, man. Kill the bull.
He's doing it. And the Sixers can't afford just to trade baskets, but time really running out. Larry Bird's high this year was 48 points. He has 35 in this game. Here's Bird inside to Parrish. McHale tipping it in, and we have a loose ball foul.
You know, Dick, this Sixer ball club, I think, perhaps might be in a better situation right now for the second half of the season, notwithstanding this ball game, than perhaps the Celtics are.
Because of the bench?
The bench. They're more cohesive, making a more solid contribution game in and game out.
Well, Billy Cunningham said, you know, this club is used to playing in the month of June, and last year with the loss to New Jersey in the playoffs, the season was cut short. He says, I think it hurt the team, and they want to get back there, and But today they're going to see their 13-game winning streak, longest in the league, go by the boards, and the Celtics will win as Billy has emptied his bench, and Leon Wood, who was the 10th pick overall in the draft, an Olympian, and a man, by the way, who Billy Cunningham thinks highly of and will figure in the Sixer plans, except that right now he's at the end of the bench and no time to play him.
Well, I'll tell you, we're watching him in pregame warm-ups, and believe me, he can shoot that outside shot from well beyond the three-point range.
But it's 108-97. And when it was money time, Larry Bird responded. 13 points in this fourth period. He's still in the ball game with 37 seconds to go in the game. Bird for three. Maybe he wants to match his season's high. He's got 38 right now. 111-97. Under a half a minute remaining. Barkley will try his chance for three. Misses, and the Celtics have the game in hand with 16 seconds to go and can run out the clock. So the Boston Celtics will regain the lead in the Atlantic Division and end the 76ers winning streak at 13. Dennis Johnson. They can't miss.
It's theirs.
38 for Larry Bird, 20 for Moses Malone to lead Philadelphia. And that's it. The Celtics were not out of first place for long. The Boston Celtics have beaten the Philadelphia 76ers in still another episode of their great rivalry. The final today, 113-97. And we will be back in Boston Garden shortly. And the crowd was treated to a fine duel, but certainly not the last between these teams. We'll be back.
Us syncopators are progressive.
But right now, let's send you to the Phoenix Open, where fourth-round action is underway. Here's Pat Summerall. Pat?
He was the Miller Lite player of the game, wasn't he?
Yes, he sure was. Larry Bird with a tremendous performance. 16 points in the fourth period, hitting 6 of his last 7 shots, and he's our Miller player of the game. And Larry, I know that you get tired of having people, maybe you don't, say, you know, how great you're performing. You just love the game of basketball, and we were talking about how, you know, there are no dead spots for you in a game. Loose ball, rebound, whatever it is, you go after.
Well, I was struggling there early in the game. I come out and hit some shots, and Barkley was taking me down low, and I couldn't get him out of the position to get the rebounds. He was beating me to the ball. But after the first quarter, I settled down a little bit, and things started going my way.
What did the game, the victory, mean today over Philadelphia?
Well, we had a big week this week. We played L.A. here at home and beat them. Then we went to Indiana, had a letdown, and we came back here today and proved that we can beat the Philadelphia 76ers. They're a great basketball team, but we still think we are.
Larry, how do you approach playing the Sixers, you yourself personally? I mean, it's a rivalry. Is it really a big rivalry for you personally?
Well, it sure is, because every player on our team is an excellent basketball player. But when they got Moses Malone, Andrew Toney, and Julius Erving and Charles Barkley in there, it makes it very tough on us, because we're a good defensive team, but we're not a great individual defensive team. We can't stop guys one-on-one. We have to depend on help. And today, as you noticed, we doubled up on Moses a lot, Charles Barkley a lot, and when Toney got the ball, we ran and tried to double him up.
Well, you certainly got you certainly got that fast break going today, though, didn't you?
We sure did. We tried to get Danny out on the wing and push the ball up to him and try to make things happen. When Danny's hitting his shots, when he's running the court real well, we're an excellent basketball team.
We just saw you make a heck of a move against Dr. J on the baseline. The two of you don't really guard each other that much, do you?
Well, he guards me most of the time, but I don't guard him except in special situations. He's very tough for me to guard, but if I can put pressure on him on the defensive end, I can make him do things that I want him to do. And today I felt that I had to make him play defense, and after I did that, the game was definitely in my hands.
Well, Larry, I want to thank you for stopping by. Congratulations once again for being the great player that you are and showing us that Larry Bird magic.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you, Larry. The final score, Boston 113, Philadelphia 97. For Tom Heinsohn, this is Dick Stockton saying so long.